Hey everybody, I'm Zach.
And I'm Jesse.
And you're watching Tesla Time News.
Episode 106.
On Now You Know.
So this episode of Tesla Time News was brought to you by our amazing Patreons. They make this show possible. All of the wonderful editing and the cameras and the lights and everything, all possible because of our Patreons. Huge shout out to you guys.
That's right. We're doing a giveaway for you guys at the end of the show. Oh, and Jesse, we're going to be doing a live stream for our Patreons on September 23rd, Sunday. So if you're a Patreon, go check that out. That's one of the perks. So what is this I hear about SpaceX going to the moon?
So SpaceX just announced on its Instagram that SpaceX has signed the world's first private passenger to fly around the moon aboard their BFR launch vehicle. They said that this is an important step towards enabling access for everyday people who dream of traveling to space.
Wait, did you sign up for this?
It wasn't me.
Okay.
You can find out who's flying and why on Monday, September 17th, which is today, coincidentally. We don't know who it is because it hasn't happened yet for us. We're from the past, like
You know
yesterday.
what else? You know what else is in the past?
What?
The last time that we went to the moon.
Right. That was...
Only 24 humans have been to the moon in history.
And before we tell you, guess what year. Just guess. Just in your head. Ready?
1972.
We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things. Not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
What's up with that?
Yeah.
Okay, let me just... The point, Kennedy said, let's go to the moon.
Right.
It wasn't to get to the moon and be like, yay, check that off our to-do list.
Right.
Don't have to go back to space again, ever.
Right. I mean, I love Kennedy's speech about let's go to the moon, but he probably should have been a little bit more specific.
He should have said, we're going to the moon to set up a moon base so that we can then travel to the rest of the universe.
Right. It was a great speach, but...
It's not his fault.
No, absolutely not.
He died soon after, and we were supposed to go to the moon and build a moon base, and we're supposed to build a Mars base, and we're supposed to build all sorts of bases all over the place, and we just, what do we forget that? Like, what the heck?
What was the point of going to the moon?
Decades and decades of not doing any of that.
Right. To do something and then to be like, we're not doing that anymore.
Yeah, how boring.
It's like if we...
Don't want to go back there again.
Right. It's like if we stopped making
there were no
cell
restaurants
phones or something. Like if it was like, smartphones. Yeah, no, we're not doing that anymore. I mean, and everyone would be like, well, the smartphones were so cool and you could do stuff. No, we're not doing that. Whatever. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense.
No. It's
it was
like
so
they went
inspiring.
to the moon, they took out their Yelp app, and they're like, oh, there's really no restaurants. You're right. I mean,
it doesn't make any sense. No. And, it's why so many of us are not inspired. So many of the people.
Imagine how much more inspiration there'd be if there'd be people living on the moon right now.
Right. But no, we have to have natural gas explosions that blow up entire towns, basically.
Yeah, just 20 miles from here, 3 towns of Andover, Lawrence, North Andover had over 70 explosions as homes just went up in flames last week. And we got lots of calls and emails from you guys asking us if we're okay. We are okay, but there were people that weren't. 6 people died in explosions that happened.
Right. Was this a terrorist attack?
No.
This was fossil fuels.
Yeah. This is, basically we have this infrastructure in this country where we pipe a lot of pipes underground and we fill them with natural gas to heat people's homes, right? And we have to take tanker ships that come in, like to Boston, and store this natural gas and then pump it out through this leaking infrastructure. Let me just, there are pipes in Boston from 1860 that are leaking. This entire state, I'm putting up a map here from Squeaky Leak, which is all the gas leaks that are happening just in our state. And these leaks, I thought, oh, well, this must be something that the gas companies are working on.
Right, because you don't want to. That's a waste of money, right?
Well, I just found out that the gas companies just factor the price of the lost gas into the price, and they just charge that to you, the gas payer.
So if I have a gas hookup, instead of it being the price for what they paid roughly, profit, whatever, of the gas...
Yeah.
I am also paying for just some pipe somewhere that's just going, I'm a dangerous, explosive gas. I'm just leaking.
Yeah. And there's thousands of these leaks, and they have no incentive to fix them because you're paying for it.
What about the government kind of regulations?
What about it? I guess I guess the Department of Public Utilities here in Massachusetts and other states doesn't care because they're not working on it.
Right. I mean, this is not just a Massachusetts problem.
No.
This is a
anywhere that there's
global
natural gas
problem.
Exactly.
Yeah. Almost all natural gas pipelines leak.
And that's where we're at. I mean, we could have moved on from this. We could have moved on to some other way to heat our house, passive solar, electric, but we didn't. We just decided, hey, you know what? This stuff's still so cheap. Let's just keep. And, occasionally some houses are going to blow up.
Right.
But
just
it's the cost of doing business.
Right.
You know what I mean?
They'll blow up full of people in them. That's fine.
Yeah. I mean, here's a quote here from Andover Fire Chief Michael Mansfield. He said, "I've been in the fire service for almost 39 years, and I've never seen anything like this in my entire career. It looked like Armageddon." Yeah, we got to do something about this, people. Come on.
So our friend Michael Green with the ClimateXChange here in Massachusetts went to the Global Action Climate Summit covering carbon pricing. And remember, this group is working on bringing carbon pricing legislation to Massachusetts.
And now they're also trying to help other states, because next year there should be between 12 and 20 other states in the U.S. with carbon pricing legislation. So let's go to Michael in San Francisco.
Hey, Zach and Jesse. Michael Green reporting from San Francisco, California, home of the Global Climate Action Summit this week. Summit started with Jerry Brown, the governor here, of course, in California, announcing that the state would move to 100% renewable energy, a really ambitious target, the first state to do such. It also set the pace for private sector announcements here this week that have really grown in ambition over the last 5 years. IKEA making a surprising announcement yesterday that they were switching over to a zero carbon transport across their global supply chain. Really fascinating step to see how that's implemented, how that sets the pace for other businesses that are really looking to take a lead on the issue. Now, the summit has brought together global leaders from the nonprofit and climate sector, businesses, cities and states, governors really coming from across the United States, of course pushing back on federal policy that has rolled back the previous climate policies that we had in place. And also leaders from around the world are really stepping up to learn, share best practices here in San Francisco. Yesterday, we had the opportunity to attend the Carbon Tax Forum, where we had private sector leaders, bipartisan leaders as well, coming together to talk about carbon pricing as an opportunity to start to reduce our emissions, looking at different market opportunities, investments, ways that we can rebate the money. Over at ClimateXChange, this is an issue that we care a lot about. I'm going to be here at the summit for the rest of the week, going to be letting you guys know what's going on, how we can plug in as viewers. So thank you for the coverage, and I'm going to shoot it over back to you guys. Thanks so much.
And you remember, Jesse, that Michael works with ClimateXChange, which is that group that raffled off a Tesla for the past 2 years. Mm-hmm. Well, guess what they're doing this year?
They're raffling off another Tesla?
3 Teslas.
They're raffling off 3 Teslas?
Yes. And you can go to our link right here, which will bring you to their ClimateXChange raffle. Mm-hmm. And for $250 a raffle ticket, you'll be supporting carbon pricing and getting a chance to win one of 3 Teslas. And get this, they pay for all of the taxes. So when you win that car, it is completely yours.
Okay, so what if I'm out of state?
If you can win it, like last year's winner was in Illinois.
Okay, what if I'm in Germany?
I think they can get you a car there, but if they can't, you win cash, so you can buy the car.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. For those of you who are probably saying, carbon pricing, wait a minute, I don't like that. Stop that. Please check out our video on it. We'll put the little card up there. Please check out that video. It kind of goes over a lot of the details because it's very complicated.
Yeah.
How it works and how it doesn't affect people quite as much as you think it does.
In a bad way. It affects them in a good way. Right. And as part of that global summit, California Governor Jerry Brown just signed into law last week a bill requiring that the state source its electricity from exclusively carbon-free sources by 2045. That makes California the largest global economy to commit to 100% clean energy. And also taking place at the Global Climate Action Summit in San Francisco this weekend, the mayors of 26 cities have made a pledge.
The mayors of Birmingham, Greater Manchester, Honolulu, Medellin, Oslo, Oxford, Rotterdam, Santa Monica, Seoul, Tokyo, Warsaw, and West Hollywood, representing more than 140 million urban citizens, joined 14 cities already committed to green and healthy streets: Paris, London, Los Angeles, Copenhagen, Barcelona, Quito, Vancouver, Cape Town, Seattle, Mexico City, Auckland, Milan, Rome, and Heidelberg, and have committed to deliver a zero-emissions mobility future.
Yeah, by signing the C40 Green and Healthy Streets Declaration, these pioneering city leaders have pledged to procure only zero-emission buses from the year 2025 and on, and they ensure that a major area of their city is zero emissions by 2030. Now, the reason they're doing this is that the air quality in these cities reveals that the policies announced could prevent 11,000 premature deaths every year.
Per year.
Hey, Jesse, did you know that 16% of the electricity in the U.S. gets used for space cooling?
What's space cooling? We're cooling down space? Is that why we have global warming? We solved it, folks.
No, I mean cooling our houses and our businesses.
Oh, and that's another part of the reason why we have global warming.
Yes.
So it is...
Well,
okay.
it is. You're right.
But we're cooling the spaces inside of our houses.
Right.
Okay.
And during peak load, that can go as high as 30%
Wow.
of our electricity. If we look at places like China, they went from just a small percentage of their country having air conditioners to now exceeding 100%. That means that more than one room air conditioner per household is now in China.
Wow.
And so that happened in a very short space of time as their economy got bigger. And now we're looking at places like India, Brazil, and Indonesia that are going to be growing between 10 and 15% a year in their air conditioning sales. And this has been done by a study by the Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory. Now, if you look at India, they have a population of 1.25 billion people, and they had just 5% of the people having air conditioning in 2011. If we go forward in time, the Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory has projected that there will be 700 million new air conditioner units by the year 2030, and by 2050, there'll be 1.6 billion.
Wow. Okay, so what does this mean for electricity generation?
This means it's like adding several new countries that all need electricity.
I see.
And that's why we need to solve the renewable electricity problem.
So part of this is because these countries are becoming richer.
Right.
They're able to actually afford air conditioners.
Which is good.
And another part of this is that the world is heating up.
Which is bad.
And certain places in the world are heating up much faster than others.
And there's huge population growths in these places like India, Indonesia, and Brazil,
Right.
where the temperatures are so hot. Look at these high temperatures in some of these places.
Holy crap, that's hot.
Yeah, I mean, you imagine trying to go do anything.
Right.
If your house isn't air conditioned, if your work isn't air conditioned. Like, I know personally that if it gets above like 80 degrees where I'm in a room, my brain just shuts off. I can't get anything accomplished. I don't know about you.
Yeah, probably 85, 86. Yeah.
Yeah. And then try and do manual labor, like of any kind.
Forget about it.
Forget about it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's important that we get air conditioning, but at the same time, we have to figure how we're going to actually run them.
So as we've all heard by now, Hurricane Florence has hit the east coast of the U.S., killing at least 6 people, flooding homes, and leaving almost 1 million people in the dark.
Wow.
The federal government declared a state of emergency as rivers crested many feet above the flood stage and inches of rain poured down. This article from Wired reminds us that in 2010, a panel of scientists warned that sea levels will rise 39 inches over the next century, and North Carolina should prepare.
Oh, that's good. So back in 2010, they must have started preparing.
Well, no, because conservative state rep Pat McElroy, whose top campaign contributors were North Carolina Association of Realtors and the North Carolina Home Builders Association, drafted a bill in response that rejected the panel's predictions.
Great. So it basically said, I don't want to hear your science.
Right. Shut up with your science. Politics.
What? How did that help?
It didn't. Part of the bill said that agencies must refer to historical linear projections of sea level rise rather than current research, and another section required that research look only at 30-year predictions rather than at a century.
Whoa. Can I just parse that for a second?
Yeah.
They could only linearly predict sea level rise. So that meant they couldn't actually see that it's probably exponential.
Right. No.
They could only say, oh, no, it's just linear.
Right.
And then they could only look 30 years out instead of projecting 100 years out.
Yes. Democratic Senator Deborah K. Ross said, by putting our heads in the sand, literally, we are not helping property owners. We are hurting them. We are not giving them information they might need to protect their property. Ignorance is not bliss, it is dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, if they had basically listened, then they would have had years and years of time to do something that could have made it a little bit easier when the storm hit. You know, there's another story that relates to this, Jesse, and that is that Tesla releases high battery capacity and free supercharging to help evacuate Hurricane Florence victims.
So how does this work?
Well, you know that if you have a, let's say, Tesla car with like a 60 kilowatt hour battery, it's actually a bigger battery, but they can unlock it with software. And so what they're doing during this time is they're unlocking that 15 kilowatt hours of additional battery capacity. And that gives you an additional like 30 or 40 miles of range.
Wow.
And they're also making all supercharging free so that you can get out of the area.
Wow. They did this during Hurricane Irma last year. Also during Hurricane Irma, many gas stations ended up running out of gas, which is another thing that happened again this year with Hurricane Florence. You're sitting idling on the highway because basically no one is moving because everyone's trying to evacuate. You run out of gas because you've been idling on the highway the whole time.
Yeah, you need electricity to pump gas. So when they lose electricity, they can't pump gas. It's a catch-22.
It's kind of a catch-22, which means, you know, the whole argument of like, well, if they lose power, you're never going to be able to charge your Tesla. And you won't be able to, you know, fuel up either.
So we just learned that Nikola 1 is likely to lose their lawsuit. Remember that $2 billion lawsuit that hydrogen truck maker Nikola 1 filed on May 1st against Tesla for patent infringement?
They alleged that basically Tesla had stole their design.
That's right. Well, according to this article by Ross Tessian, Tesla was awarded 2 U.S. patents on August 14th of this year for their semi-truck design. The U.S. patent examiner ruled that Tesla's design is unique compared to Nikola's design, and after Tesla learned their patent would be allowed and would be issued, they began their cross-country trip to major customers to firm up orders.
Right. So this $2 billion lawsuit from Nikola, I think, was not a great idea.
No. I think that if this were any other company that had just basically been ruled that they're going to win their lawsuit for $2 billion, it would be big news and it would help, you know, the stock price and so forth. But as you can see here, we're in the middle of a FUD storm, so none of the media wants to pick up on this story.
Crickets. Just, don't let that one fly under the radar.
Right, but thank you, Ross, for your research on this. What is this thing?
Yeah, so this is from Volvo FL. This is the electric autonomous semi-tractor trailer. So this is a 16-ton truck that can be configured with different battery packs for capacity between 100 and 300 kilowatt hours for range of up to 300 kilometers or 186 miles.
Wait, where's the cab?
There is no cab. It's fully autonomous, so you don't need the cab.
Wait, so is this designed to go on, like, major roads?
I believe it is. I mean, that kind of range, it's definitely not a yard hauler, in my opinion, because I don't think, you know, why put 186 miles into something that would just have to go around a yard? I think that this is definitely supposed to go on major routes. You know, charge them up. You don't even have to pay for a person to be driving them. This is, by the way, a huge wake-up call and a shot across the bow for truck drivers because we haven't really seen anything that really just cut them squarely out of the picture.
Yeah.
I do have one question, and that is to do with aerodynamics. You know, usually you have the cab, and the cab can, you know, if you're looking at the, say, the Tesla Semi, it's kind of got that swoop in front, whereas this is, you know, whatever the trailer's face is now the leading edge of your aerodynamics.
I just want to conjecture. I think this is more of a to move trailers around a lot. And by a lot, I mean, you know, where you park a bunch of trailers and then you need to move them into a building and then move them back and move them. That's the look I have here because, I mean, I know you're saying it's a range of 300 kilometers, which is 186 miles.
Right.
But the Tesla semi-truck is reportedly going to have a range of 500 miles, maybe more like 600 miles.
Right.
And they're building out a mega charger network, supposedly. Whereas, I mean, you would need a charging network, which they haven't talked about, and you would need to have a lot more range, I think, than 186 miles.
Well, I mean, keep in mind that this is Volvo and that this could be for Europe, and 186 miles in Europe is a long way compared to, say, Texas. I would think that this is, you know, and again, this is just their sort of their concept, basically. Yeah. They're not saying that they're going to be producing these. This is just sort of their idea, and that really, to me, shows that this is a direction that they're thinking of going. This isn't necessarily what the vehicle will be or look like or how it will function. I mean, it's great that it's electric, but I think that if you're a truck driver, you're feeling a little worried.
All right, so what is this, Jesse? I don't recognize this.
This is DS Automobile. This is a company out of Europe. And this is the DS3 E-Tense Crossback.
Oh, but it's electric?
So this, they will have an electric version.
Okay, what are the specs going to be?
It'll have an electric motor with 100 kilowatts, which is around 136 horsepower. It has a 50 kilowatt-hour lithium-ion battery under the floor. It has regenerative braking, range of more than 300 kilometers, which is 186 miles. 0 to 60 in 8.7 seconds, so not terrible. Not bad. I mean, it's
pretty.
It's okay. It's better than ICE cars.
Yes, that's true.
So at least there's that.
And how about charging? Can you get fast charging?
It comes with 11 kilowatts on board, and it can take DC fast charging up to 100 kilowatts.
All right.
So I think that this is going to be a great vehicle, especially for Europe, where DC fast charging is a little bit more available.
Now we just need a price. All right, so recently Worm Capital went to Tesla's factory for a tour, along with our friend Gally went too, and has an excellent video, which you should check out, by the way, where they learned a lot of interesting things. So some of the things we learned is that as of mid-2018, the Gigafactory is now the highest volume battery plant in the world.
Wow.
It currently produces 200 million batteries per quarter. It's closing in on 1 billion per year production rate. And Tesla now produces more battery capacity than all other car manufacturers combined, a run rate of approximately 20 gigawatt hours.
Wow. That's per year?
And the factory's not even built yet.
20
fully.
gigawatt hours per year.
Per year.
That's insane.
Yeah. In the first 45 days of offering the Model 3 test drives, they received 60,000 signups for test drives.
Wow.
Tesla will likely achieve a battery cell cost of $100 per kilowatt hour by the end of the year, which would make it probably the cheapest of any company.
Right.
And Groman Engineering, which is that company that Tesla bought, will help module production become 3 times faster and 3 times cheaper. Their new system will be sent to the Gigafactory by the end of Q3 or the beginning of Q4, and they'll also begin to earnestly produce semis by 2020. So the Groman machines will be used in zones 1, 2, and 3, and Tesla will be receiving 3 machines. The process was designed to alleviate the previous bottlenecks in module production, which delayed the Model 3 production significantly. The machine is already built and points to the advantage that Tesla will have in building future gigafactories. They have learned many painful lessons, but have a solid blueprint for porting these factories across the world.
Right. This is a huge point because, right now there may just be Gigafactory 1, Gigafactory 2 that makes solar panels, and the Fremont factory. But I think in the fairly near future, we're going to see new gigafactories. We're going to see other car companies starting to go out of business or starting to severely need to cut back. They're going to need to sell some of their factories, and I think Tesla will be there to pick them up at a huge discount.
That's a really good point. Why build a new one if you can buy up one of your competitors?
Right. And they have the blueprint now for this, winning solution that has, they earned in blood, basically.
Right.
They had to figure out all of the little kinks. And that means, again, they have a solid blueprint for porting the factory across the world.
Yeah.
Newer factories everywhere.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Germany and definitely the United States.
And China.
Yes.
The Gigafactory is 90% automated right now, and they're just trying to increase that more and more. Tesla will likely start producing the shorter range Model 3s in the next 8 months, and Tesla believes it can gather 1 billion miles of data per year from current drivers.
Wow.
And according to Tesla, they will begin exporting Model 3s to other countries starting next year. Microlino!
This is probably one of the best marketing videos I've seen for an EV so far.
Yeah, check this out.
Yeah. This really makes me want to drive around a European city with tiny streets.
Yeah.
And
race a Lamborghini.
Yeah. It looks perfect for it. We've talked about this company before. It's a Swiss company called Micromobility Systems. They have 8,000 pre-orders of 1,000 euros for the Microlino. It's street legal in Europe. The first 25 cars are planned for production to begin in October, large scale in December, and they're being made by Tazari in Italy. The first deliveries will be in Switzerland and then Germany. And just the specs here, top speed of 56 miles an hour or 90 kilometers an hour, a range of 125 to 200 kilometers, that's 78 to 125 mile range. It has an 8 or 14.4 kilowatt hour battery, which is tiny, tiny, tiny. Because the car is so tiny, it can get these ranges with such a tiny battery.
That's right.
It is a 20 horsepower motor with 110 Newton meters of torque, 0 to 50 kilometers per hour. That's 0 to 30 in 5 seconds. So it is not your, Tesla P100D.
But it doesn't have to be. It's an urban car.
Right. And this design was based off the BMW iZeta.
Yeah, and these photos are from our friend Kevin in the UK, who owned one back in the 1990s. I thought it was pretty cool that they took this design and said, hey, there's a new use for this design.
Right.
You get in from the front.
Yeah. I think that this is really smart. And I think that it's not just European cities. I mean, basically every European city could use one of these.
Yeah, I mean, where in the US do you think this would work well?
I think Boston would work well.
Yeah.
If you're staying within the city, proper.
Yep.
New York.
Oh, yeah, definitely. What about, like, San Francisco?
If you're putzing around a certain neighborhood or something like that. I mean, obviously, this is not great for the highway, but then again, if you can take back roads, I think it's fine.
So, Jesse, you remember John McElroy. He's the producer of Autoline Detroit. He works for WTVS, which is Channel 56 in Detroit, and we've seen him with Sandy Munro as they tore down the Model 3,
right.
And they didn't have very many good things to say about it in the beginning.
Right.
Well, get this. He's now come up with an article on Ward's Auto, and here's some quotes from it. Up till now, I have never spent much more than 10 minutes in a Tesla, but a friend of mine recently let me take his Model X home for the weekend, and for me, it was an eye-opener. As part of my job, I test drive about 100 new cars a year, from entry-level economy boxes to blisteringly fast sports cars to the toniest of luxury sedans. If other automotive journalists got to experience a Tesla like I did, it would likely generate a new group of enthusiastic supporters. So I urge you to go read his article. We'll post it down below.
Right.
He basically talks about how I don't think he got it right on first view.
Right. I think that it's pretty hard to fully grasp and wrap your head around how freaking awesome, having a Tesla is. The driving is just so much better. I very recently needed to drive somebody else's car.
Okay.
And it's a nice car. Very nice car. It's a very fast car.
Is this a gas car?
It's a gas car. It's a Golf R. So it's like the top Golf. It's a nice car.
Okay.
I freaking hated driving it. I hated it so much because let me tell you, you put your foot down on the pedal and it goes and then after about a second you feel yourself going, oh, okay, now we're moving. I know that there's a turbo. I know that there's all that boost and everything, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what car you get into. If it has a gas engine in it, it's not going to accelerate when you want to. And my Leaf, I would rather drive my Leaf because that thing, if I'm like, I need to go now, I'm gone.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
All right, so NIO is that Chinese company. It's the Tesla of China, and they recently raised $1 billion in their U.S. IPO.
Yep.
And so remember that this is the company that has produced about 2,000 of their NIO ES8s, which is the all-electric SUV. And the first 10,000 ES8s are founders editions with a starting price of about $83,000 before incentives.
Mm-hmm.
So they claim that they're the Tesla of China, but that their cars are less expensive than Tesla. And NIO says that they've already pre-sold all of them, which is exciting news. Yep. The ES8 starts at $68,000. That's so if you're getting the non-founder series, and so that is like half the price of a Tesla. And after government incentives, that's $57,000.
Right.
So it's about half the price of a Model X
in China, specifically because of tariffs.
Exactly. And so their company is now valued at $11 billion, and they have revenue of about $7 million for the first half of this year. I just want to compare that to Tesla, which has revenue of over $7 billion for the first half of this year. So to say that they're the Tesla of China, I think they're leaving a few things out, especially since NIO doesn't make their own cars yet. They design them, but they sub out the building of them so far.
True. I would be a little bit more positive on them. I'm thinking that they're the Tesla of China, but they're behind. They're a few years behind. They didn't get the head start that Tesla got.
True. And I mean, it's an exciting market to be in,
right.
But they're in the same market that Tesla's going to be in because Tesla is building a factory in Shanghai.
True.
So,
but we're talking about China, which is an enormous market.
Yep.
And
there's room for everybody.
It's not like they have their factory up and running in China already. So I'm going to say that NIO is an exciting
It is.
buy. And I mean, this raising of $1 billion is another exciting thing.
So do you think you'd get in on the IPO? Like,
yeah, I mean, I
you don't think it's overvalued, huh? I'm personally going to wait for a little dip in the value.
There's definitely going to be a dip. Okay. I'll concede
there's
the dip. Yeah.
Don't forget that in the first weeks of an IPO, there's a lot of positive stories that JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs are some of their sponsors that brought them on the market, and they grease the wheels with the journalists.
Right.
So
calling it the Tesla of, which again, kind of funny when we're talking about this giant FUD storm, to compare anything to the Tesla of anything.
Yeah, it is funny.
It's kind of a double standard there.
Yeah.
How about the Tesla of Tesla? That doesn't get the same kind of glowing appeal as the Tesla of China.
It's true.
Funny.
All right, it's time for the lightning round.
Here we go.
The boring garage, Jesse.
Yes. So look at this picture. It's like a secret lair.
Wait, what?
I honestly, I would want to be the first person in my neighborhood to have one, just so that like.
Wait, can you explain what you're talking
Yeah.
about?
So in your garage.
Yeah.
Your garage would have an elevator.
Yeah.
With your car on it.
What?
And
Wait.
you'd get in your car. The elevator would go down. You'd go into the tunnel. You wouldn't have to ever go outside.
I want one. That's not a boring garage
If it's
at all.
raining, if it's snowing, you're just underground.
That's the problem with this company. They got the wrong name for the company.
Right.
This is exciting
It's the
garage.
exciting company.
So Iceland has banned new ICE cars by 2030.
So have to be called EV land pretty soon.
I like that.
Yeah. By the way, EV sales in Iceland are at 13.5%, and 100% of Iceland's electricity is renewable.
Wow.
So it is like the perfect place, and it's a little teeny tiny island.
Let's call it EV land.
It's the perfect place for EVs.
I love
EV
it.
land.
Plus, it sounds more attractive than Iceland.
Right. They got gypped on the name.
I know, they totally
those
did.
Vikings. Those silly Vikings.
So what is this I hear that Tesla is going to be offering 2 less standard paint choices?
Yeah. So last week, Elon tweeted that moving 2 of 7 Tesla colors off menu to simplify manufacturing, Obsidian Black and Metallic Silver will still be available as special request, but at higher price. Also, the multi-coat red is now $2,500 for all cars. He said, we tried every possible way to make red look 3D without floating a special red tint in primary gloss layer, but no way. We have to stop whole paint shop for red, and it looks like an episode of Dexter. So basically what it is, I mean, and this red looks really,
it looks
really
good.
good. And
I think this is a smart move because they've been moving the price up. It started at what, 1,000, and then it went 1,500, 2,000. Now
Right.
it's at 2,500. They need the cash, and if people if they want the color, you got to pay for it.
right. It's the best color on the Model 3, hands down.
Yeah,
And that's a fact. That's not an opinion.
And they increased the price for Model S and X to get
Right.
this color.
And I mean, because they have to shut down the paint thing, I think it's fair.
I think we need more paint centers, so you can send like a black paint center, white,
Sure.
red.
I mean, keep in mind, this is a small factory.
I know.
Like, it's not.
I know.
I mean,
Well, it's a big factory,
It's a big factory, but they need more factories and lines and time. I mean, time is going to be the exciting part.
So BMW stopped selling U.S. diesels. We're putting all our eggs in the PHEV basket.
Yeah.
It says BMW representative Alexander Schmuck. And also, Mercedes-Benz has decided to stop selling diesel passenger cars in the U.S. too.
Woohoo!
Stockholders are suing VW. Remember when the EPA sent VW a notice of violation in 2015 and VW lost 37% of its stock value? Well, over 1,600 stockholders are now suing VW because they claim it took VW 4 days for executives to alert shareholders that this had happened. How much are they suing for?
$10.6 billion.
Ouch.
And only more are going to pile on.
That's right. Hey, let's talk about a company making a difference. We like to do this. And this is Cliff Bar. You've had these before. And their company offers incentives to their employees to ride bikes and drive EVs. They give $500 towards the purchase of a commuter bike or a bike trailer for their child or dog, up to $1,500 a year in cash or rewards for eliminating the car from the commute. They also give $6,500 to help someone buy an all-electric or fuel-efficient hybrid car. And what's been the impact? Over 450 Cliff employees, more than 1/3 of their company, are driving greener vehicles. They've had over 360 bike incentives used.
That's really cool. It shows you what it takes to make a difference.
Yeah.
And I mean,
And their CEO sets the example. He rides his bike at least 1 day a week over a 50-mile round-trip ride on his bike to work. So ChargePoint's going to be kicking it up. ChargePoint has just gotten a new round of funding in 2017, $82 million from Daimler and $43 million from Siemens. And their CEO says that they're going to be putting out 50 times more charging spots in the next 7 years than they did in the first 10 years.
Wow. 2.5 million charging spots by 2025. I just want to shout out to ChargePoint. Thank you so much for doing this, because literally ChargePoint is the safety net of electric vehicles.
Good point.
If you run out of charge and you can't make it to the Supercharger, you're going to a charge point,
right.
basically.
So in June, Tesla made their steering wheel hands-on nag more frequent to increase safety. Now, many drivers complained, saying that you had to wiggle the wheel or apply force and it was such a pain. So the latest over-the-air release allows for the using of the scroll wheels or the buttons on the steering wheel to let your system know that you're actively in control.
Okay.
We'll see how that
for
goes.
all those babies out there. All right.
I don't know. A lot of people don't like the wiggle. We're all excited by the thought of solid-state batteries. It's not a question of if, it's only a question of when. When will solid-state batteries get cheap enough to produce at production levels, and what will the ranges look like?
A Colorado-based startup, Solid Power, attracted some big initial investors like BMW, A123, and is now getting $20 million more in an A-round funding from some big players like Hyundai and Samsung.
Yeah, Solid Power says they use a high-capacity lithium metal anode, so that's solid, and it gives it 2 to 3 times higher energy. Interesting to see if it's going to be true. It's time for our video contributor story, and we've got this week our friend John, who went to the Boring Company Not a Flamethrower party. Take it away, John.
All right, good morning, everybody. Well, today is the day, so let's just see what my calendar has. So we are going to the Not a Flamethrower Washington, D.C. pickup party. Really excited about that, and about to get on the road here, pick up my buddy, and we're gonna head down. Got to hit a Supercharger on the way. Is this the start of a boring tunnel?
This might be one of the access points to the tunnel.
No.
Oh yeah.
Baltimore to DC, right?
Actually all the way to New York.
Oh, really?
The trouble with thinking of it as a DC to Baltimore tunnel is that there's an infinite number of access points and stops along the way. And so we really want to think about it as a DC to Maryland tunnel, because it means that somebody in Laurel could hop on,
or someone in
Bowie or someone wherever could just hop on the tunnel and get in there. So that's the idea.
Perfect.
Yeah. But it's super exciting.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It definitely is.
Yeah, so these bricks are made out of the dirt from tunnels.
Right.
And so 20% of the cost of tunneling is actually getting rid of the dirt.
Right.
And so if you can give away the bricks, you've just cut tunneling by 20%.
Are these from like the LA tunnel?
This is literally the dirt from the LA tunnel.
Yeah.
As we go through different geologies, the colors change. This we dyed and this we dyed, but these two were not dyed.
All right. Let's get out of here. All right, guys, we're leaving the boring party, stuck in this soul-crushing traffic that the Boring Company is supposed to be handling. So hopefully we will see that in the near future here. But I just noticed there is a car carrier full of Teslas, and we're right outside of the Owing Mills delivery center. So I imagine that they're going there.
Tesla Model 3, Tesla X.
Oh yeah. All right, well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. We will see you guys next time.
Wow, that looked like a lot of fun. I want to get my hands on some boring bricks and build some boring things.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, that is very exciting.
Elon Musk, he like, how are we going to make tunnels cheaper? Don't throw away the dirt.
Right.
Turn the dirt into something useful, sell the dirt.
Building material.
And suddenly the tunnel's free. Free tunnel?
Yeah.
Free tunnel? So smart.
Brilliant.
Free tunnels means amazing things for
Do you
this
realize
world.
that he looks at a problem and he looks at it from a first principles
Yeah,
point of view? He
it's
doesn't
crazy.
take all the crappy knowledge that we think we
It's
have in our
crazy.
head. He just goes, wait, you got all this material.
Right. He doesn't
Use
listen
it.
to Frank, who's like, well, you can't do it that way. Let me tell you, you got to hire Louie. You got to hire Louie. He'll get the trucks. He'll truck it out of there for you.
All right, time for our Patreon bonus stories. Now, you guys know what this is, right? If you give us $1 a month, you get to go see our Patreon bonus stories, which helps support us a lot. And we've got some cool stories that we only give to our Patreons.
So head on over to patreon.com, search for Now You Know, and support us for $1 a month, and you get to see every Patreon bonus story that we've ever done.
Or just click on
It's
the
like,
link below.
Like 100 stories or something. Yeah.
It's totally worth it. Hey, we're back from our Patreon bonus stories, and you definitely want to go over there and check those out. I think it's worth it.
It is time for our Patreon shout-outs. These are people who donate $5 or more every month to this show, ergo, making this show possible.
Wow.
A big special thank you to FastZombie.io,
William Gregory,
David McDonald,
Dave Milk,
Cadillac,
AJ Vandenberg,
Stephen Guletas,
and Frank Lowe. Thank you, guys.
You guys all super rock.
All right, it's time for the Elon Tweet of the Week, and we got 3 this week.
So it's Elon Tweets of the Week.
Yes. First one is the Gigafactory 1 is the largest solar array. So Elon tweeted out, electric cars made with sunlight.
Gigafactory 1 will have the largest rooftop solar array in the world upon completion, 70 megawatts, or roughly 200,000 solar panels.
Holy crap.
A lot.
And Elon got tweeted to by Scott Rutt. He said, is there any way to know which superchargers still have power in South Carolina? I might need to help my parents with Hurricane Florence, but I don't know if I can make it.
Tesla got back to them. He said, your Tesla touchscreen is up to date with current supercharger status. We are monitoring the network 24/7 and will update the navigation app if a station becomes affected by a power outage.
And lastly, Elon tweeted out the first boring brick store opening in about 2 months, only 10 cents a brick, rated for California seismic loads.
Does this mean that it's a brick and mortar store? I came up with that one as I was saying it. Is it a brick and mortar store to buy bricks?
Maybe they just ship them from their online web portal, or maybe it's a brick and Morty. I don't know.
That one was not as good. And also, bricks will be free if they're being used for affordable housing projects.
This is just...
I think that there's going to be a lot of boring brick affordable housing projects going up.
Yeah. All right, it's time for community mail time. We've got our friends Joe and Ken. They went to the Battery Show in Michigan and sent us this report. I'm going to grade that really high on the creative markings, but low on content.
Well,
it makes me want to go to it.
It's exciting.
It is exciting.
It's exciting. That's all that's important. Our friend David was in Linz, Germany, and he got to see this concept electric fire truck from Rosenbauer.
And then he got to check out what it feels like to be a self-driving car. And this is basically you get to get into this little electric car thing and drive around and control it as if you were seeing what an electric car sees. Then our friend Christopher told us about the first EV event in Malta, and he drives a Mitsubishi Miev. And our friend Patrick in Maryland just got his Model 3, and he says, quote, I love it and don't think I could ever go back. He says he visited the Tesla showroom in Hawaii, and they gave test rides. So there's a little video here. It shows that don't be fooled. You might think, oh, well, it's just a showroom, but they actually give test rides. So next time you're in Hawaii and you got nothing to do because you don't want to hang out at the beach or something.
Fun.
Yeah. And our friend Arnus in Michigan just got his new Model 3 Performance using my referral code. So we'll be visiting him in the Roadster.
Oh, yeah. Look forward to doing that.
And happy birthday to our friend Goran.
It's his birthday.
And lastly, 2 idiots in a Tesla.
You mean us?
Well, we were 2 idiots in a Tesla, but these are 2 different idiots. This is Mark Gowdy and Mike Ward, and they'll be driving a Tesla around Europe starting on September 24th. They understand the effects of air pollution and what a huge influence it has on people's health, so they thought it would be a good idea to raise money for cancer research in the process. They're going to be driving a Model S around Europe. They'll be visiting 12 countries in 7 days. They're going to use their followers from social media to help them come up with daily challenges. They're going to have tons of fun. Some of it's going to be serious. Some of it's going to be comical. comical. So these two electric Explorers are looking for donations. So go help them out and go join their Facebook page so you can help them give them ideas.
Awesome.
All right, it's time for our Patreon viewer comments. This week we put out a poll, and what was the poll, Jess?
Are you impressed with the Mercedes EQC? 16 people said that they were impressed. 199 people said that no, they were not impressed, and 24 people did not know what the EQC was.
Ooh, ouch. It's not really Tesla killer kind of numbers.
It's definitely not a Tesla killer.
And then we posted a question, tell us how the recent Tesla FUD has been affecting you. And we got a couple cool responses here. Donald says, it does not affect me at all. Pretty used to jealous little people trying to make big noise. That is the burden creative people are often subjected to. I'm confident the greedy special interest jerks will lose big in the end. Elon, keep the faith. Your detractors are not fit to even shine your shoes.
And Trey said, I work in the Omaha area, and I only hear news by looking online. Coworkers of various ages, but mainly younger, like to tell me the newest story they hear. These stories are always negative, and I almost always already heard about it. It frustrates me, but I know it's not worth my energy to get heated about it. They will change their tune soon when I take delivery of my Performance Model 3. Nice. Yes, they will. They will change their tune immediately.
All right, it's time this week for Supercharger Reviews. Take it away.
Hey, Zach and Jesse. Salty here in New South Wales, Australia. I'm in Coffs Harbour at the Tesla Supercharger. We got a 6 stall going on, and we got a Model S on charge over there right now. This stall is pretty good. I'm going to give it 9 out of 10 because it comes straight off the highway. And within 30 seconds, you can be parked up, charging away. You can easily spend an hour or two in the shopping centre, literally across the road, which has all amenities that you could ask for under the sun. Speaking of, while you're in Coffs Harbour, enjoy the beaches and the local attractions. Thank you.
Hey, Zach and Jesse, I'm here at the LaVale, Maryland Supercharger on my return trip this weekend. And I'm at a Sheetz gas station. There's a Burger King across the street, Long John Silver's, a Best Western. So pretty good stop. Sheetz gas stations have tons of stuff inside. They've got a car wash. They've got 8 stalls, 2 of them are pull-ins. And met a couple cool people here while I was charging. So just stop in, get a quick charge, lots to do here, and I give this one an 8 out of 10. All right, take it easy, guys. Now you know.
We recently stopped at the 8-stall Supercharger in Poncha Springs, Colorado. Poncha Springs is the intersection of Highway 50 and Highway 285 in the mountains of Colorado. It's a good stopping point if you're heading from Denver to southwest Colorado, and the actual charging station is at the intersection of Chipeta and Main Street. As you can see from this video of the 8 chargers, it's not a particularly large town, and while it's a pretty area, there is not a lot of amenities nearby.
Hi, Zach and Jesse. This is Frank, standing here at a 10-stall supercharger station. Was built last month, so it's a month old. I have a couple areas of Myers, shopping centers down the street, a couple of restaurants and hotels. 6 minutes away from Cedar Point, so it's not too far if you like roller coasters. So yeah, this is a new area for charging your car. Thanks.
Favorite part of the show.
Awesome. Super awesome.
All right, what do we got for new Superchargers, Jess?
We only have one, so this is like one of the few weeks where we're actually catching up on Supercharger reviews.
Wow.
Because we have multiple Supercharger reviews and only one new Supercharger in the world, which is in Dublin, Ohio, which is right outside Columbus, Ohio. You just went there, huh?
Yeah, I just passed by it. It wasn't ready in time for me to use.
That's too bad. It is number 565 in the USA and 1,359 in the world.
So it's time for BFREE. You remember what that is, Jesse? That's for businesses for rewarding Elon employees. And we've got dozens of businesses around the world that are giving their services for a reduced price, some of them free, to help Elon employees. So here's what we got this week. That is so cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't believe that we started with just an idea and now we have dozens and dozens of companies. I want to get to 100 people.
Ideas are powerful.
We're
well on our way to 100.
Yes, and if you're an Elon employee, please let me know if you've used one of these businesses. I want to hear the story.
Definitely take advantage.
All right, we put out so many videos, Jesse. It's hard to keep track of them, but there's ones we think you might have missed, and this is one that we think you might have missed. It's will there be enough EV battery material?
Right. This is a common argument that I hear from EV non-enthusiasts who say, there's not enough lithium in the whole world, even though it's one of the most like
common elements
in the universe. They're saying there's not enough.
We did the math.
We did some math. You can check out the video. It'll be right over here.
All right, it's time for our Patreon giveaway, Jesse. Let me go get the big box of fun.
Okay, the big box of fun. Here we go.
It's the Patreon giveaway.
And remember, to get into this big box of fun, you have to be a Patreon, and you have to, for every $1 that you give us a month, you get another card that goes in there. And I don't know if your spinning's actually doing any good.
Now
Just
it's
centrifugal force. Oh, there it goes. So this week we're giving away an SFSF T-shirt. Jesse and I are both wearing them right now.
You can't see them.
You can't see them, but you've been seeing them the whole show.
Yeah.
These are really cool T-shirts, and whenever you buy one at SFSF, you actually support the show, and we're going to be giving away one right now. Who are we giving away to, Jess?
We are giving it away to Marcus Leasham.
Nice. All right, so you're going to be able to go pick out whatever shirt you want.
By the way, I'm putting this back into the bin because...
You can win again.
You can win again because you still support the show for $1 or more.
That's right.
If every $1 is a piece of paper in that bin.
So thank you so much for watching, everybody. If you want to support the show, in addition to being a Patreon member, you could also go use our affiliate Amazon link, which is easy to use. You just click on this link. There's one for the US and one for the rest of the world.
Right. You buy whatever you were going to buy on Amazon. Don't buy anything that you weren't going to buy anyway. No. Just if you were like, oh, I need that.
Some pencils.
Yeah, or whatever you're buying. Use our affiliate link. A little bit of money will go to us.
Yeah.
It's you don't pay anymore.
Nope.
We're taking it from
Jeff Bezos. He's got enough money already.
Yeah. And I guess he knows it because he's set up this thing that allows us to do this, which is really cool.
And if you want to get a ride in the Roadster, we're the only two crazy enough, I think, to be offering this. Basically, the free supercharging is dried up.
Yeah.
But you can get $100 of free supercharging one time, and you can get the free Roadster ride from us
by using our referral code. And so if you're getting a Performance Model 3, a Model S, or a Model X,
use it.
And we'll come to your house in a Roadster, and we'll take you for a test drive. It's going to be
It's really easy to use the referral link, too. It's just click the link below, and it's easy peasy.
Yep.
And if you want to listen to our show on a podcast, like Stitcher, Spotify, iTunes, or TuneIn, we're there. So just listen to our show on the air. That's pretty cool. And you can also race the semi-truck by using our referral link down below to sign up for the newsletter.
Right, which is free.
Yeah.
You might be able to drive a semi.
Yeah, so cool. Thanks so much for joining us, everybody.
Now you know.